Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I've been kind of MIA for a little bit. Just life gets in the way sometimes. Work, school, with kids' school and kids and everything like that. Life just stays busy. So I'm kind of doing an update right now of what's going on. Sorry, I look kind of dingy and everything. I'm getting ready to go out and do some work in the woods, and so I always just kind of put on some dingy clothes because I know I'm going to be getting super dirty. But since you're already in the shop with me, I thought I'd give you a little bit of a tour and some of the things that I've been doing since I've been kind of MIA. So to start out with, as you can see, these are my toolboxes here. I just have these three right here that I keep all my ratchets and wrenches and screwdrivers and pry bars and some of my air tools, Dremel tools, drill bits, chisels, and all that kind of stuff. I just kind of keep that all in these toolboxes here. I got a TV up there. I try to make this where I enjoy coming out here and have some comforts. So I put a TV out here. I've also got a little coffee maker there, and I got a little mini fridge right down there that keeps some cold drinks in, especially during this time of the year, summertime. I think I said in a video back in, I think it was February when I was working over on the campground, that I hate heat. I don't like being outside when it's hot. I prefer it to be, 40s, 50s degrees outside year round if I had my choice. But hey, that's the way it is. But that's the thing I do like about living in North Carolina. We pretty much get about 3 months of each season. So I kind of wish that summer only lasted maybe a month, and I'd be fine with that. But let's get on to showing you the rest of the shop. All right. One of the things that I'm really happy about that I got, and I have to thank one of my buddies from work, but he designed this big banner for me that is across the back of my wall. And of course it's showing backwards in the video, but it's Silent Hill Acres, and it's pretty nice. He designed that up and then sent it off to a guy, I believe it's in Texas, and he printed it out. But it's 20 feet long by 4 foot tall. And if you ever need any type of design work for, whether it be work, t-shirts, stickers, hats, anything like that, definitely check him out. I think he has a website. It's called Graphics Factory. And he's done quite a few things for us. He's designed the OWM stickers. I think, like, here's one of them right here. It's on the back of the side-by-side. He also did some t-shirts for us. And usually with him, it's just kind of giving him an idea of, what you think you would like. And I've always just kind of let him free reign just to kind of come up with a design. And once in a while I might critique, hey, could you change this or change that? But 9 times out of 10, when he designs it, like this big banner, as soon as he designed it and I saw, I was like, yep, that's it. So anyways, I really like that. Plus it covers up, just the regular old white insulation that we have up there. Also put in a bunch of these LED lights. And that was due to building this big miter bench here. So I went ahead and got me a new miter saw. It's a Cobalt I knew I'd said in that one video that I was looking at the Hercules from Harbor Freight, but the thing I really liked about this Cobalt was that it is dual bevel, and also it has a trenching feature on it, which, you know, that's something that I was kind of looking for also, and it works really good for me. Everything that I've used it for, once I've made sure, you know, everything was squared up, you know, when I got out of the box and everything and squared it up, it's been running great. Of course, the suction system on it isn't the greatest, but that's pretty much with almost all miter saws. You're going to have dust just flying everywhere. But after I got this, I was like, well, I got to build me a miter station. And because I think in the video you saw my last miter saw, it was just on like a plastic fold out table. And but once I bought this, I knew I really wanted a nice miter saw station, so I went ahead and built this. This is a birch plywood top, and then I did a poplar trim on it. Of course, chamfered it down so there's not a sharp edge on top, and I just used poplar just because, you know, I didn't want the plywood to get all chopped up or chipped up and everything. And so I put the poplar on there to give it a hardwood, a little bit more protection. Also put a T-track in both sides. So I got one on this side and then one over on that side. And that's been really nice with just being able to measure out a length that I need. And then I've got these stop blocks, and then you can clamp it down and shoot, you can cut, you know, 10, 20, 30, 100 pieces that are exact same size. And so that's what I liked also, is the precision that it gives you now is by having a stop block, you know, with this T-track system. And I just did this the other day where I took a piece of white oak that is perfectly squared and attached it to this stop, so that, because if I have a piece that's a little bit narrower, it might not hit that. So I put a piece of, it's just a cut off from a piece of white oak, so I know it's straight, solid, and it's not going to waver. Another good thing is I could also just flip this around, and I got another stop block here, and if I'm using my drill press, I can pull that drill press in between here and put these stops in, and it locks my drill press in place. That way I don't have to worry about, you know, especially if I got an awkward piece on here and having it, you know, tip or shake or whatever like that, I can lock it in with these stops here. So that was another thing that I really liked. As you can see, I've kind of changed my back wall here a little bit, moved stuff around, especially after I got the miter saw station built. I moved just stuff around, try to make it a little bit easier and organized. Like I kind of have all my, well, of course I got my drill press, got my routing stuff. There's a router up there. And then of course all my sanding stuff. I have all my measuring, rulers and squares and metal steel squares. So I kind of do somewhat, you know, like my measuring and stuff on this. And then over here got my clamps, got all kinds of rolls of tape for, you know, whatever I might need them for. Of course, again, I think you might have seen this before. This has got all my air tools. So finish nailer, pin nailer, cutoff tool, staple. Yeah, it's a stapler, just a air hose blower, brad nailer, and then a 3/8 ratchet. Organized some of my books up there, and of course you all have seen my charging station before. I haven't added or anything to that. And did a glue up box, and as we go further down, as you can see, I just kind of moved some stuff around. This is a system that I really like, and all these boxes are from Harbor Freight. I usually buy them when they go on sale because I think the normal price on them is like $4 or $5 a piece, but usually when they go on sale, they'll drop down to, I think sometimes like $2 a piece. So that's why I usually buy up quite a few. But anybody that knows me, I'm just OCD when it comes to making sure that stuff is organized and I know exactly where stuff is at. So like I got all my screws labeled as to which ones they are, and nails and other screws up there. And so I just like to try to stay as organized as I can and make sure that when I need it, I can find it pretty quickly. Something that I'm kind of proud of that I just recently built, I'm going to kind of pan it down a little bit, is this cabinet with drawers. Now this is the very first, I guess, true cabinet that I've ever built. I've built some boxes with a door on it just to be able to put stuff in it, but this was my very first time building a cabinet, and the first time I've ever done drawers. I've never done drawers before in any type of cabinet, so I was very pleased. Even did some rabbets on here to put the sides on top of the bottom piece, but they turned out really nice. I'm very pleased with them. It's made out of 3/4 inch birch for the main structure of it and the drawer faces, and then the drawers themselves are made out of 1/2 inch to make the box, and then the bottom is just 1/4 inch birch. So now I put 2 coats of Total Boat Halcyon on here, and I like using that because it kind of repels the dust and stuff like that. It seems like dust doesn't stick to it as easy. And then just for fun and it's kind of experimenting, I have some of this barnwood looking stick on, and so I did that on the top drawer just to see what it looks like. This is it's shop furniture, and again with this being my very first true cabinet that I've ever built, I'm wanting to build stuff out here, and that way if it isn't perfect, it's in my shop. It's not that big of a deal, because eventually I'm really wanting to start building furniture for inside the house, and with that I want it to be as best that I can make it. So I figure with building stuff for the shop right now, it's going to be all trial and error, and I can try different techniques. Again, I did rabbets on this. I think the drawers, I did glue and brad nails to put the box together. Well, my next set of drawers I want to build, I'm going to do pocket holes, and just something different. Something that I thought was kind of neat, and very first time I ever did was doing dado cuts in the back, so that the back panel just slid in there and is held in there, and then I just tacked it on the top just to kind of keep it from moving a little bit. But it's a pretty good sized drawer. I believe the depth of it is over 25 inches, and the total width here I believe is 24 inches. So it's a substantially good sized drawer, and then I got the full extension side drawer slides here, and those are 24 inches. So again, kind of proud that this is my very first drawer, and when I start on my next ones, as you can see, I want to build a big cabinet for that one, and then down on that other end I want to do another big cabinet. I think on one of these I'm going to do drawers, and then the other one I'm going to do cabinet doors, but but then it's going to have pull out trays, because like I have quite a few tools in this one where, you know, I got a circular saw, a large router, I got a bench top sander, you know, tools that, you know, I can just set on a tray and then push the tray back in there. And then that way, because like right now, if I needed to get to one of my other sanders that's back behind, you know, the bench top sander, well, then I got to pull that out. So I'm wanting to make it where I can just pull trays out and get to the equipment that I might need. So working my way down the miter saw station here, I went ahead and invested in a dust separator, and I have definitely found that having a dust separator, there's hardly any debris that gets in my vacuum. And the good thing about that, as anybody knows, is that it doesn't clog your filter up. And by not clogging your filter, then it's going to maintain a lot of power to, you know, suction up, you know, as much sawdust and particles and stuff like that. Again, miter saw, I don't know if there's anything out there it's going to, you know, suck up all the dust that comes off of one of these things. These things just, it's notorious for just blowing sawdust everywhere. Again, this is another area. I think with this one, I'm going to do drawers. And again, this is going to be, I haven't decided if I'm just going to make one big one or two individual cabinets with drawers. I haven't decided yet. But this over here is just going to be more like overstock of supplies. I got a bunch of screws and nuts and bolts and extra glue, and I got stuff for the tractor and the side-by-side. You know, there's extra motor oil and chain oil and all that kind of stuff. And then on the bottom, there's a bunch of extension cords and stuff like that. So again, I'm thinking I might make this where they're just going to be pull-out drawers, just like the very first cabinet that I built. But by having that, it will just make it look a lot nicer, and it'll be a lot more organized. That way, because again, right now, if I need something that's in the back, I got to pull 2 or 3 things out first before I can even get to what I want. And so, again, I'm just trying to make it nicer, easier, and I can't say it enough, more organized. I think I've showed you this before, but this is where I keep all my cutoffs from all my wood. And so I've kind of started getting it to a point where I'm keeping it somewhat separated. So I got MDF, there's 3/4 inch, just standard plywood. Over in the corner there is just 3/4 inch cut off birch. And then I keep all my long sheet goods over there. As you can see, I invested in a planer, and it's been nice. I've just, the very first time I ever used it, I had some pine, and you know, pine is pretty soft, and you know, I just wanted to see how it do, and it zipped right through that without a problem at all. Well, then I did some white oak the other day, and you can tell you have to take your time a little bit more with hardwoods, but it turned out actually very nice. Let me get this piece here. But as you can see, I don't know if you can see it as well, but that's rough. I haven't cut the sides off yet. I hadn't taken it through the table saw yet or anything like that. But that's after planing it. And to be honest with you, that is almost close to probably about 120 grit sanding. You know, a piece of 120 grit sandpaper. That's how smooth it is. I was very impressed at how well it is. So This is for another project. It's not for the shop. This is actually something my wife wants me to make for her. And since I'm starting to get a little better with my woodworking, I might actually put a video out on what I'm building. So I'm not going to say what it is or anything yet, because it's hard for me to do a project like building that cabinet with drawers. Overall, it took me about a month just to build that thing, and a lot of it was just because I just didn't have time. You know, I'd be able to come out, work with it a little bit, and then I had to go back in and do something else. And so, you know, I just get out here when I can. I mean, there's been a couple times I come out here late at night. It might be, 10, 11 o'clock. And I'll just work out here for, an hour or so, which, as most people know, when you get involved and you're starting to do any type of project in your shop, time flies by really quick. I was milling this down. I was figuring, it'll only take me about 5 minutes. Well, it took me about 15 minutes. One, I'm still learning how to use this planer. This is my very first planer I've ever owned. And so I was taking my time, making sure, I wasn't trying to cut off too much at once. And, I was just seeing how it worked. So again, I think I stated in the very beginning from, when I put that video out back in, when was that? December, January, something like that. Then I'm back. I'm not going to be on any type of set schedule. I'm not going to try to say, hey, I'm going to have a video out every Wednesday or anything like that. So, I just try to do videos when I can, when I have the time, and when I don't feel rushed. Could I drop a 5-minute video every 3 or 4 days? Yeah. But how interesting would it be? Here I am, I'm putting my tools away, or, so I'm trying to make it where it's somewhat interesting. And as you might have deduced too, if you look down there, I went ahead and bought a actual track saw. I think you might have saw in the background, right over there is a homemade track saw that I made, and it worked pretty good. But I knew that if I was going to start getting into building, cabinets and furniture and stuff like that, that I wanted to get something that I knew was going to be very precise. So now this is a Win track, but I'll have to show you the track saw that I did buy. So hope everybody doesn't start giving me a hard time and saying, we did a brand thing and brand name tools against, other non-brand name or lower end tools. Well, I went ahead and bought my very first Festool, and I will have to say it's expensive. I tell you what, it's worth the money. I was shocked at how good this tool is. And, I'm not sponsored by Festool. I'm not here to jump on, the Festool bandwagon and just have these totes everywhere in my shop or anything like that. I mean, there's probably at least one, maybe two more Festool items that I might look at eventually. The biggest one is a sander. They have a 6-inch sander that I'm looking at, and it's mainly because when I was building the huge table for our back patio in the guy's workshop that I was able to go and use his tools, he had a Festool sander, and that thing, it's unbelievable how good of a quality that sander is. But I went with the Festool TS55 track saw, and again, it's night and day when it comes to using, you know, and I don't have a cheap circular saw. I have a DeWalt, and it works great. I have no qualms about it. It's just the cut quality that I got off this Festool using it, you know, using it as a track saw. It's unbelievable. It just, I can't explain how it makes a world of difference. So it definitely, to me, the way it's built, the features on it are super easy to use. It's high quality. I mean, the only true plastic I'd say is the handle, but you know, the cover housing for the motor net, you know, for getting your depth, it's very precise. You know, because I looked at, you know, the other brands out there. You know, of course, Win is a cheaper brand, which I just saw, you know, watching quite a few reviews. It just felt really, or seemed very cheaply made. The stop for the your depth didn't seem to be as well built or as precise. Also, it'll tilt to 47 degrees, so it'll go over 45. It just, the quality in this is just, it's just hard to compare it to anything else. I know, like Milwaukee, I've heard quite a few people say is a very good brand, and but I just knew that with me, there's some times where I just feel like, you know what, I'm just going to go for the best. And to me, this felt like is the best use of a tool. And again, it's pricey, but at the same time, it's well worth it. I can understand why it's so expensive. So, but I'll, once I get used to using a little bit more, I will do an overview of it, of my opinion, especially coming from an amateur woodworker. You know, I know there's guys out there that's been woodworking for years and years and years, and you know, I'm sure their opinion, you know, greatly matters, but they're going from the view of they're probably using this every day and over years and years and years, and they got, you know, a lot of experience, which is great. But I'm going to go through, bring it forward to, hey, this is what a beginning woodworker opinion is on a piece of equipment, and is it worth the price? So, so I'll do a review at some point on this, and also after I've used that track saw, or not tracks, the planer, the DeWalt planer, I'll do a little bit of review on that too. Again, I just don't want to just willy-nilly just throw a review out there and just to have one, just to put a video out. I'd rather just use stuff for a while and see how it works. But so far, I've been very happy with this purchase, and I can't say enough. It comes with the sustainer case, the saw, comes with the 55-inch track. So I have the 55-inch track, which I keep mine in a box. That way I don't have to worry about it, you know, getting dinged up or anything like that, bent. I keep that under my outfeed table for my table saw. But watching quite a few guys on YouTube, instead of buying, you know, the Festool tracks, which are, they're expensive too, I was able to buy the Win tracks because this saw, track saw, will work on a Win track. And so that's why I just went ahead and bought those. And I got, I think there's 100 inches and I think it was like $65 or something like that. And I've used it so far when I had to cut a long, 8-foot sheet in half, and no problems. It worked perfect. The only thing that you might have to do if you need to make an adjustment is tightening the track saw to the track so there's no wiggle at all. That was the only thing that I had to do, was make an adjustment to that. And I think since it's kind of a universal track for numerous saws, I think they made it so that other saws can fit in it, and all you have to do is just make some minor adjustments, tighten it a little bit so that you don't get any play in your saw at all when it's secured down to that track. So that's all I got to do, is just 2 little knobs. They're pretty simple. 'Cause I'll save my Festool track for when I'm just doing cross cuts or just shorter cuts than that. But I mainly bought that wind track when I have to do real long cuts, especially when it's 3/4 inch plywood, and all I have is a job site table saw here, and trying to struggle that up there. Plus it only has a 24 inch width cut on one side. So again, my boxes, I made those 25 inches. So it was 1 inch too big for my job site saw. So it was nice being able to just use the track saw. And again, I can't tell you how precise that thing was. When I cut all my pieces and put it all together, everything squared up. I was shocked at how square everything was. That's just something that I was amazed at and totally surprised by. I happen to see him here. I want to show you real quick if anybody wants to know what drawer slides I used. Got these off of Amazon, called Lantan, and of course I'm sure they're made in China. Seems like everything's made in China. Doesn't really say on here. But anyways, been very pleased with them. The action on them is very smooth. As you can see, no hiccups at all. They slide in and out really easy. And you can see all the different sizes they have, 8 inch up to 24 inch, which is what I have in the drawers for here. But I just wanted to show those real quick, just because anybody wondering what drawer slides I used. Eventually I might try the undermounts. I know undermounts are kind of the big popular thing now, is do undermount drawer slides. So maybe in one of these cabinets that I build, I might do undermounts. I don't know. Again, this is all trial and error out here as to what I build and how I build it. And so, but again, yes, I did jump on buying a Festool. Again, after doing research and stuff like that, I looked at Milwaukee, Makita, DeWalt, and I don't know, I just went with Festool, even though it was the most highest priced track saw out there. And as you can, and I'm not one that's just gonna go buy a tool and just use it once or twice and spend a lot of money on it. So I knew I'd be using this track saw, and I wanted to make sure that I was getting something that was very precise, and I knew I was going to use it quite a bit. Working around, as you can see, this is my outfeed table for my DeWalt job site table saw here. It works very well. I've been impressed by it, and so the only thing is I wish it had a larger, wider width, so I could, cut, wider boards on it and stuff like that. But as for right now, it works fine for me. It'll cut up to 24 inches, 24-inch width on it. But I've definitely have been practicing, because I've been doing like I did my rabbets for the cabinet. I've done dados with it, even though with a job site saw, you can't put a dado stack in this, because the shaft where your blade goes on, it isn't long enough to put a dado stack. So all my dado cuts is just doing a pass, move the fence, move a pass, move the fence, measure, making sure that I get the right depth on it. So far it's worked flawless for me. It's worked great. So I've been very happy with it. My son, he felt like he needed to bring his workbench out here. So he comes out here and he says he's cutting wood and everything for me and drilling them together. So he has his little workbench out here to help old dad out. One thing I forgot to show you, because I got kids' toys in front of. I built this cart for my planer. That way I can move it wherever I want. And I put the leveler or the wheels on it so that I can wheel it around, and then of course I can flip these up once I get to where I want, and then it'll actually sit on the post flat on the floor, and that way it'll stay level, it won't move around on me. And eventually I'm thinking of enclosing this and putting drawers in this too. So I'm gonna start getting all drawered out here eventually. Still trying to figure out a system for my clamps, or for, I guess, my big clamps and the ones that I don't have right above my bench. So as of right now, I just have this wood rod here, and I've just put a couple C clamps, which is clamped onto this 2x8 here, and then ran that rod through it, and then I just got there's some spring clamps and cabinet clamps and F-style, and there's also some of these other clamps. There's one for my pocket hole jig, squeeze clamps. These are for the Festool to lock the track down. I didn't buy the actual Festool brand because all these are going to be doing is just holding the track down. I didn't see spending that kind of money on a clamp so I got these off of Amazon. And then I got some of these other quick clamps here. My pipe clamps are along the back here, and of course I got these old style clamps, which I like using these especially like when I was building the cabinet, and I would put this on one end or clamp it on it, and it would stand my piece of plywood straight up, so I wouldn't have to try to hold one piece. And so eventually, when I'm starting to build stuff, and I'll throw that in there and show you how I use it, which I can't take all the credit. Everything that I know about woodworking is from just watching other people on YouTube. So, and another thing that I built, let me grab it real quick. Is a jointer jig. So, I kept asking the question, not only to myself, but to other people, do I buy a planer first or do I buy a jointer first? And it was kind of almost a 50-50 thing, because again, I want to try to build stuff out of good quality, materials. And it's kind of hard to find stuff that's already perfectly cut straight, squared, flat, and all that, especially when it comes to, your hardwoods. So after much decision making and thinking and weighing out the pros and cons of each one, I went ahead and bought the planer. And I figure, I could always really square it up by using this. And basically, and I'm sure there are tons of videos out there on YouTube that shows you how to use this. But once you get your piece of wood locked down onto this and you run it through, it's following your blade, and your cut is following the straight edge of this jointer board jig. And by doing that, you're putting a straight cut on this one side. And then if you need a straight cut on the other, well, then you take it off of it, flip the board over, and run it through again. Now you got a perfectly squared piece of wood. And this really didn't cost me a whole lot because I already had extra T-track from when I built the miter station. This is just a piece of MDF that I had sitting around. So the only thing I bought was these hold down clamps, and that was it. So overall, I didn't spend a whole lot of money on building this thing, and most of your decent joiners that you would have to go buy, or would be well over, a good one anyways, probably about $300. So I got maybe, I don't know, I can't remember how much these cost, 10, 12 bucks for both of them. So that's what my jointer cost me. Again, I had everything else sitting around the shop, so I just went ahead and built one, and I've used it a couple times and it seems to work really good. Better pick up my son's drill here before I get in trouble. And as for the rest of the shop, I keep, my tractor and my side-by-side, in my shop. Yes, it takes up quite a bit of space and everything, and I got to move, especially the side-by-side, in and out if I'm, doing any type of woodworking around here, just because that way I get extra floor space. But again, it just keeps it out of the elements. It does still get blistering hot in here during the summertime. Again, I'm looking at probably getting like a portable AC unit, and not that it's going to chill it down in here, get the temperature down here to where it's going to be like a refrigerator, but it will take some of the chill out, and then I'll probably get a oscillating fan and help circulate that air around. Can't think of much else. I got this sidewall over here that kind of keeps extra screws and stuff like that, extra saw blades for my circular saw. Again, I'm very OCD, so I actually have a time track or a schedule or a maintenance log or whatever you want to call it on this big old whiteboard that I have in my shop. So, this is the maintenance on the side-by-side here. This is the food plot, which I know I need to talk to you guys about the food plot. I don't want to really get into that right now because it'll probably be a 20-30 minute video just talking on that. I've also got maintenance for my wood chipper. I have 2 small tanks that I keep oil and a gas mixture in. Well, I only keep 1 tank with oil in it, and then once I run out of that, then I'll fill the other small, it's only like a 1 gallon tank, and I'll fill that one up. So then once I do that, I'll take the 2 off, put in number 1. That way I know which can I'm using. Flail mower maintenance, where I greased it. This is my lawn schedule. So, I put pre-emergent, weed and feed, and then I put some pesticide down. The granular stuff helps keep all the other stuff out. Also, this is all for my tractor here. So it has it from day of delivery to the 30-hour maintenance. And actually, I'm getting ready to do the 50-hour maintenance on the tractor. And I'll try to record that. This will be the very first time that I've done the oil filter change, and then the hydrostatic and the transmission filter change and all that kind of stuff. So I'll put that up here once I get that changed out, and that might not be for another week or two before I can get to that, because we're actually getting ready to go on vacation tomorrow, and so I won't be able to get a chance to get back to doing that till after I get back. And then, of course, I got my truck maintenance here when I change the oil in that. So, but this is kind of my side of the wall where I keep all my yard tools. Of course, everything's on French cleats. So I've built some holders for, quite a few of the tools. I still need to build some more because I think I got a gravel rake and a hoe and leaf rake and some other stuff that I still need to build holders for. Just having the time to do it. Of course, there's my big mess up there on the loft, which this fall, when it's cooler, I'll probably get up there and clean all that out. And then I'm thinking, once I get these cabinets built for both sides, it has these Craftsman shelving racks in here. And what I'll end up doing is just putting them up there in the loft, and kind of just start stacking stuff on that shelving unit. That way it looks a little bit more organized, and I know where, where stuff is at. Right now, I know something's up there that I might need, but to know exactly where it's at, it's hard to say. Because, again, it's like my attic for my shop. I keep, all kinds of stuff up there, extra, fluids, and I got my tile saw, my paint sprayer. Of course, there's quite a bit of hunting stuff up there. There's my feeders for my hunting, and I got a couple backpack sprayers, rolling toolbox, cornhole boards. I got, I think my smoker's up there. So, again, it's like my attic for my shop. But the good thing is it's not sitting on the floor. It's up there. So, it gives me more room around here. Well, as well as I can think, that should be it for the quick tour of my shop. It's nothing spectacular. It's nothing, elaborate. I don't have, like an official, dust collection system. All I have is a vacuum and a dust separator. And I have two hoses. One hose is dedicated to the miter saw. And then I have one hose that I just kind of, take it around. I can hook it up to the table saw. I have an adapter so it can hook up to the Festool saw. And of course, all my sanders that I have. So, it's nothing elaborate, but it helps me get the job done. I have a place where I can do it. And so I've been very happy with it. There's probably still going to be some more changes at some point to come, and I'll be bringing you along with me. So I know I got some work to do. I'm looking outside, and it already looks hot. I hate summer. I don't know how many times I can say that. I hate summer. It's just hot. It's humid. Not to mention all the bugs, especially when I go on the other side of the property, when I'm working over in the woods and that, and because I'm still trying to maintain the trails and stuff. I just don't like it, and so I'm ready for fall already. I'm ready for deer season to get here. And again, I will try to do a quick video of what's going on with the food plot. And it was something that I was disappointed that I really wasn't able to put work in on it. And but again, we'll talk about that later. So till next time, see ya.